Madridistas, take a seat. Because what's coming is nothing short of an earthquake in European football. The calm before the storm is broken, and at its epicenter stands Eduardo Camavinga, one of Real Madrid's brightest young stars. Reports emerging from England have revealed that Chelsea, ever restless, ever ambitious, are preparing a major offensive to sign the French midfielder in the summer of 2026. Yes, you read that right. The London Giants want one of the crown jewels of modern football, a player whose name has become synonymous with energy, elegance, and evolution. For those inside the Santiago Bernabéu, the rumor landed like a thunderclap, but not one that provokes panic. On the contrary, the interest from abroad is viewed as further confirmation of Madrid's unmatched influence on world football. When Real Madrid players draw attention from England's wealthiest clubs, it's not a problem. It's a compliment, a testament to the caliber of talent forged in white. The Chelsea vision, Maresca's blueprint for a modern midfield. Sources in England describe a Chelsea side eager to rebuild with clarity after years of turbulence. Since Todd Boehly's consortium took charge, Stamford Bridge has seen more new faces than almost any club in Europe, but cohesion has remained elusive. Now, under Enzo Maresca, the Blues' ambition seems more defined, to construct a balanced, dynamic midfield capable of dominating possession and tempo. In Maresca's mind, Camavinga is the missing piece. He envisions a trio of Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Camavinga, a blend of technical precision, tenacity, and tactical versatility. The Frenchman, Maresca believes, could provide what Chelsea have long lacked: stability in transitions, control under pressure, and the rare ability to dictate the rhythm of play from deep. At just 23 years old, Camavinga is already what many managers spend years searching for: a player equally comfortable as a defensive anchor or as a progressive carrier of the ball. His press resistance, intelligence in tight spaces, and relentless work ethic make him a prototype of the modern midfielder. For Chelsea, the message is clear: if you want to compete at Europe's highest level, you need players forged in the fire of Champions League football, and few embody that pedigree like Camavinga. The situation in Madrid: calm, controlled, and confident. Inside Valdebebas, however, the mood is far from alarmed. Real Madrid hold all the cards. Camavinga signed a long-term extension until 2029, a deal that not only raised his salary but also embedded one of the highest release clauses in world football. The player himself has repeatedly expressed his affection for the club, his teammates, and the Madrid lifestyle. "Here, I feel at home," he told Spanish television after lifting his second Champions League trophy. Still, the past few months haven't been flawless. A minor but persistent injury kept him out of action earlier this year, and with Xabi Alonso now at the helm, following Carlo Ancelotti's legendary second spell, tactical adjustments are underway. Alonso's Madrid plays with structure, with positional discipline, and with a more deliberate build-up, a style that challenges every midfielder to adapt. Some fans believe Camavinga's best version comes when he's unleashed as a ball-winning number 8. Others argue he should remain as the hybrid left-back/holding midfielder that made him indispensable during the 2022-23 treble run. The debate is lively, but it's a good problem to have. Within the club, there's no doubt about his importance. Since joining Madrid from Rennes in 2021 for just €30 million, Camavinga has accumulated over 180 appearances, won multiple European and domestic titles, and shown tactical maturity beyond his years. He is, quite simply, one of the most complete young footballers in the world. Market dynamics. The price of potential. Camavinga's market value has more than doubled since his arrival, currently estimated at around €60 million, the same figure Chelsea are reportedly ready to offer. But Real Madrid doesn't operate like an ordinary club. The philosophy in Chamartin has long been: listen to everyone, sell to no one unless the timing is perfect. Every major decision is guided by long-term planning, not by impulse or the allure of money. Would Madrid even consider selling? Possibly, but only under conditions they define. The club is entering a generational renewal. Toni Kroos has retired, Luka Modric is in his final chapter, and the midfield of the future, anchored by Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, and Bellingham, is already taking shape. Any sale would need to fit a larger puzzle, perhaps as part of funding a Galactico-style signing or rebalancing the wage structure. And even then, there's another key factor. Camavinga loves Real Madrid. His agent has privately communicated that he's not looking for a move anytime soon. London may call, but the Frenchman's heart, at least for now, beats in the Spanish capital. The historical context. reinvention as a way of life. Real Madrid have seen this story before, many times. When Cristiano Ronaldo left in 2018, critics predicted decline. When Casemiro joined Manchester United in 2022, pundits said the midfield would crumble. When Ramos, Varane, and Marcelo departed, many feared the end of an era. But Madrid's genius has always been its ability to transform endings into beginnings. Camavinga's case would be no different. If he were to depart, whether in 2026 or years later, it would happen as part of a meticulously planned evolution. Madrid never sells from weakness, it sells from strength. The club understands that football dynasties survive not by clinging to the past, but by reinventing themselves every few years. Every departure funds a rebirth. Think back to the transitions that defined Madrid's modern history. From the Galacticos of Zidane, Figo, and Ronaldo Nazario to the new blood of Benzema, Bale, and Modric. From the legends of the early 2010s to the youthful core that conquered Europe again in the 2020s. The pattern is consistent: renewal through courage. The Xabi Alonso factor: trust in intelligence. Under Xabi Alonso, the new Real Madrid is evolving toward a blend of control and intensity, an identity that mirrors the manager's own playing style. For Alonso, Camavinga is more than just a midfielder, he's a tactical weapon. He understands the game like few others, a staff member reportedly said. He can adapt to any role, any system. That's why he's so valuable. In Alonso's plans, Camavinga remains central, whether in a double pivot, as an interior shuttler, or even in defensive transitions. The coach values intelligence over labels, and Camavinga's football IQ makes him almost positionless. It's precisely that versatility that keeps him indispensable, regardless of Chelsea's interest. A glimpse into 2026. What if? Let's imagine the scene. Summer of 2026. The European Championship has just concluded. The transfer window explodes with headlines. Chelsea, revitalized and hungry for continental relevance, submit a record-breaking offer, perhaps €90 million, maybe even more. The football world watches. Would Real Madrid sell? Possibly not. But if they did, it would be on their terms. The money would be reinvested into the next wave of global talents. Maybe a new French prodigy, a rising Brazilian star, or an emerging European sensation. Because for Madrid, the story is never about who leaves. It's about who comes next. And make no mistake, even if one chapter closes, the book never ends. From Di Stefano to Cristiano, from Puskas to Bellingham, the cycle continues, relentless and glorious. Legacy in the making. For now, Eduardo Camavinga's story at Real Madrid is still being written. He has the trust of his manager, the admiration of the fans, and the respect of his teammates. His blend of discipline and dynamism has made him one of the faces of Madrid's future, a symbol of what comes next after the Modric era. Chelsea's ambition is real, but so is Madrid's determination. And in this game of giants, the player himself might hold the final word. For all the noise, one truth remains: Real Madrid dictate their own destiny. Always have, always will. So as we look ahead to 2026, remember this: football's greatest clubs aren't defined by the offers they receive, but by the legacies they build. And in that regard, the white of Madrid continues to shine brighter than ever. Because at Real Madrid, every rumor is just another reminder of how powerful, how envied, and how eternal this club truly is. After the stunning announcement surrounding Eduardo Camavinga's renewal, a move that reinforced Real Madrid's vision of building not just a team but a dynasty, came the day's second major headline. And this one revolves around a name that's already echoing with excitement in the stands of the Santiago Bernabéu: Endrick Felipe Moreira de Souza. The young Brazilian forward, still only 19 years old, joined Real Madrid in 2024 as one of the most dazzling teenage prospects in the world. Signed amid worldwide attention and comparisons to the likes of Ronaldo Nazario and Vinicius Jr., Endrick has been living under an almost impossible weight of expectation. Now, less than a year after his arrival in Europe, a bold but carefully calculated idea is gaining momentum inside the club's corridors: a winter loan move to Celta de Vigo. This is not a reactionary decision, nor a demotion. It's the next step in a long-term development strategy that Real Madrid's technical staff has been shaping since before Endrick even landed in Spain. The philosophy is clear: don't rush greatness, guide it. A crowded galaxy of stars. In the current Real Madrid squad, competition for attacking positions is nothing short of brutal. Carlo Ancelotti, or perhaps Xabi Alonso, depending on the timing of the move and Madrid's coaching situation, commands an offensive lineup bursting with world-class options. Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, Joselu, Brahim Diaz, and even young Arda Güler. Each of them brings something unique, but together they make one thing abundantly clear. Minutes are scarce, and Endrick's development could stall if he's confined to the bench. Inside Valdebebas, the consensus is that a player like Endrick needs rhythm, real competition, and space to make mistakes and learn. Watching from the sidelines won't turn him into Madrid's future number 9, playing will. That's where the idea of a loan comes into play. Madrid have no interest in selling him or letting him slip through their fingers. They want to accelerate his evolution intelligently, not expose him prematurely to the scrutiny that comes with wearing the famous white shirt every weekend. Why Celta de Vigo? Among the potential destinations evaluated by the club's technical department, including teams in Portugal, Germany, and even France, one stood out from the rest: Celta de Vigo. Under Claudio Giraldez, Celta have quietly developed a reputation as one of the most progressive footballing sides in Spain outside the top 4. They play an assertive brand of attacking football: high pressing, quick transitions, and a willingness to trust young, dynamic players. It's a system tailor-made for someone like Endrick, whose biggest weapons are his acceleration, instinctive finishing, and hunger to attack defenders one-on-one. At Balados, he wouldn't be another prospect waiting for his chance. He would be the focal point of the project. Instead of training among superstars, he'd be leading a front line, carrying responsibility, and experiencing the kind of physical and tactical battles that define professional growth. For a teenager adapting to European football, those lessons are invaluable. The Spanish league is physically demanding, tactically rigorous, and emotionally intense. Exactly the kind of environment that molds raw talent into complete footballers. The Real Madrid way. A proven formula. The decision to loan Endrick would be far from unprecedented. Real Madrid have perfected the art of turning temporary departures into career-defining opportunities. Take Dani Carvajal, who left for Bayer Leverkusen in 2012. At the time, he was a promising right-back buried in the depth chart. One season in the Bundesliga transformed him into one of Europe's best, and he returned ready to dominate a position he's owned ever since. Then there's Federico Valverde, who spent a formative year at Deportivo de La Coruña, where he learned to compete in a physically intense league and matured mentally under adversity. When he returned to Madrid, he was no longer a raw Uruguayan midfielder. He was El Halcón, one of the most complete midfielders in world football. Even Casemiro followed a similar path, going on loan to Porto in 2014 before becoming the cornerstone of one of the most dominant midfields in football history. These precedents aren't coincidences, they're a blueprint. Real Madrid's philosophy is simple: loans aren't detours, they're launchpads. The economics and strategy behind the move. From a financial standpoint, the operation makes just as much sense. A temporary deal with Celta would allow the Galician club to assume a portion of Endrick's salary, while Madrid retains full control over his future. For Celta, it's an opportunity to attract global attention and inject young energy into their squad. For Madrid, it's a low-risk, high-upside investment. If Endrick spends even 6 months excelling in Balados, scoring goals, adapting to La Liga, winning matches, his confidence will skyrocket. His market value would follow, and Madrid would welcome back not a boy full of potential, but a young man ready to fight for a place among the elite. Moreover, the relationship between Real Madrid and Celta has long been one of mutual respect and collaboration. Celta have often provided young Madrid players with competitive minutes and crucial experience, and they've done so in a footballing environment that prioritizes possession, pressing, and creativity, not survivalist football. A divided fan base, a unified vision. As always in the world of Real Madrid, every decision sparks debate. The fan base is split right down the middle. One faction believes that Endrick should stay, learn from the stars, and soak up the Bernabeu atmosphere. To them, nothing replaces training daily alongside Mbappe, Vinicius, and Modric. They argue that even limited minutes at Real Madrid carry more value than a starring role in a mid-table club. The other camp, however, sees the bigger picture. They remember Carvajal, Valverde, and Casemiro. They see a 19-year-old who needs to make mistakes in real games, not in training sessions. They believe that a loan isn't a step back, it's the foundation of a brighter future. Inside the club, the latter perspective clearly prevails. President Florentino Perez, Director José Ángel Sánchez, and talent guru Juni Calafat have spent years refining their developmental model for young talents, particularly those arriving from South America. The club no longer wants to rush adaptation. Instead, they want to create a gradual, sustainable path toward stardom. Endrick, the personality behind the prodigy. What makes Endrick's case so fascinating isn't just his raw skill, it's his personality. Those who know him describe him as fiercely competitive, humble, and obsessively focused on improvement. At Palmeiras, he was known to stay after training sessions to work on finishing with both feet. He watched videos of his childhood idols, Ronaldo, Adriano, Romario, and tried to emulate their movements. Coaches in Brazil spoke of a young man, with the body of a sprinter and the mind of a veteran. Yet Europe is a different beast. The physical duels are tougher, the tactical systems more demanding, and the scrutiny relentless. For a player like Endrick, adapting mentally is just as important as performing technically. A loan to Celta could be exactly what he needs, a chance to make mistakes without being dissected by headlines, to grow quietly, away from the suffocating pressure of Madrid's spotlight. The long game. This plan fits perfectly into Real Madrid's broader vision for the next decade. The club isn't just signing stars, it's building succession. Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Arda Güler, and now Endrick. This is the core of a generation designed to dominate European football well into the 2030s. Each player represents an investment not only in talent but in time. Real Madrid's brilliance lies in their ability to blend youth and experience, to allow generational transitions without chaos. Sending Endrick on loan is a move consistent with that pattern. A patient, intelligent, forward-thinking approach that prioritizes development over instant gratification. A future written in white. No matter how divided opinions might be in the short term, one truth stands unchallenged. Real Madrid believe in Endrick. They believe in his hunger, his potential, and his destiny to become the face of a new era at the Bernabeu. Whether he spends 6 months or a full season in Vigo, this chapter will be a crucial one, the bridge between promise and fulfillment. The fans may have to wait a little longer to see him in white week after week, but when he finally returns, he won't be the same boy who arrived from Brazil. He'll be a sharper, stronger, more complete footballer, ready to claim his place in the club's history. Because in Madrid, patience isn't hesitation. It's strategy. And when it comes to nurturing greatness, Real Madrid have mastered the art of waiting just long enough. Endrick's time will come. And when it does, the Bernabeu will be ready to roar. And here we are, Madridistas, reaching the third and final piece of news, perhaps the most significant of all. The spotlight now turns to Adam Wharton, a young English midfielder who, at just 21 years old, has become one of the brightest revelations of the Premier League. His name has started to echo through the corridors of Europe's biggest clubs: Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool, and of course, Real Madrid. Yet, the latest reports from England suggest that Wharton is leaning toward joining Liverpool, a decision that could shape the trajectory of his early career and possibly postpone, but never erase, a potential future in white. A meteoric rise through English football. Wharton's story is one of patience, hard work, and undeniable talent. Born in Blackburn, he joined his hometown club Blackburn Rovers as a boy and quickly rose through their academy ranks. Those who watched him in the youth teams speak of a player with unusual calmness, a midfielder who seemed to play the game a second ahead of everyone else. When he broke into Blackburn's first team, his maturity immediately caught the eye. In 2024, after a standout season in the Championship, Crystal Palace secured his signing for around £18 million, a modest figure at the time that now seems like a bargain. In less than 2 seasons, Wharton has become the heartbeat of Palace's midfield, making around 50 competitive appearances and earning plaudits for his tactical intelligence, defensive discipline, and confidence in possession. He isn't flashy. He doesn't rely on stepovers or theatrical flair. What defines Wharton is his intelligence, the way he reads passing lanes, closes spaces, and dictates tempo. He's the kind of midfielder managers adore because he simplifies the complex and makes difficult things look effortless. That combination of poise and maturity led to his first call-up to the England national team, joining the new wave of English talent led by Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, and Declan Rice. For many observers, it was only a matter of time before a club like Real Madrid took notice. The Real Madrid interest. Indeed, Reports from Spain confirm that Wharton's name has been underlined on Real Madrid's scouting lists for months. The club's sporting department, under the supervision of Juni Calafat, has been monitoring his development closely. Madrid values players who combine technical quality with tactical awareness and mental maturity, traits that Wharton has in abundance. In him, the club sees a potential successor to the likes of Toni Kroos and Luka Modric, a midfielder capable of controlling rhythm, pressing effectively, and linking defense with attack through precision passing. For a club that has mastered the art of renewal, transitioning from one golden generation to another, Wharton represented a logical next step in their long-term vision. However, Liverpool has moved faster. Their sporting project, now under Arne Slot, appeals to Wharton on several levels: style of play, familiarity with the league, and the promise of an immediate role in the first team. Sources close to the player suggest that he prefers to remain in the Premier League, developing further in an environment he knows well before eventually taking a leap abroad. The Madrid philosophy: strategy over impulse. At Real Madrid, this decision is met not with frustration, but with understanding. The club has built its modern success not through desperation, but through patience and vision. Florentino Perez and his board have long insisted that Madrid's recruitment is based on strategy, not impulse. Every signing must fit the long-term architecture of the team, both in sporting and financial terms. The Crystal Palace board reportedly values Wharton between £60 and £70 million, a significant sum but far from prohibitive for Madrid. Yet money alone does not dictate decisions in Chamartin. The club's leadership knows that the Real Madrid jersey must be desired, not negotiated. If a player feels his path lies elsewhere for now, Madrid will not interfere. This restraint, this ability to wait, is what defines Madrid's transfer policy in the modern era. The club doesn't chase, it observes. It doesn't panic, it plans. Because in the long story of football, time always favors the truly great institutions. A club that understands timing. Real Madrid understands something few others do. Football is cyclical, and destiny has its rhythm. Many of the club's current stars were once names on a list, players who at some point seemed destined for other clubs. Luka Modric, once linked to Chelsea; Toni Kroos, who almost stayed at Bayern; Vinicius, nearly courted by Barcelona; Bellingham, heavily pursued by Liverpool. And yet, they all arrived, eventually. Because when the moment is right, the pull of Real Madrid is irresistible. It's not merely about money, trophies, or fame. It's about legacy, about belonging to the story of football's greatest club. Wharton's future and the message it sends. Even if Adam Wharton ends up at Liverpool, his connection to Real Madrid doesn't end here. The very fact that Madrid followed his progress, analyzed his performances, and considered him a candidate speaks volumes. It's a reminder that Madrid's scouting network stretches beyond borders, constantly identifying talent, constantly preparing for the future. The interest in Wharton also sends a clear message to the footballing world. Real Madrid continues to dominate not only on the pitch but in vision and foresight. The club's strategy of targeting young, technically gifted players, from Bellingham to Camavinga, from Tchouaméni to Arda Güler, shows a commitment to building dynasties, not squads. For Wharton, this moment represents recognition. Being linked to Real Madrid, even hypothetically, elevates a player's profile. It's an acknowledgement that he belongs among the elite, that his performances haven't gone unnoticed in Valdebebas. The inevitability of the white jersey. In football, certain stories feel destined to happen, even if not immediately. Adam Wharton may stay in England for now, learning, improving, and maturing in one of the most demanding leagues in the world. But if he continues on his current trajectory, if he keeps showing the same intelligence, humility, and consistency, the door of the Santiago Bernabéu will remain open. Because the Real Madrid project is not about chasing every star, but about identifying those who can become eternal. And in that sense, Wharton fits perfectly. Disciplined, intelligent, and deeply passionate about the game. Whether his path leads him directly to Madrid or takes a longer route through Liverpool, one thing remains certain. When Real Madrid calls, no player can resist forever. The allure of the white shirt, the magic of the Bernabéu, the echo of its history, they have a way of finding those who are meant to belong. And perhaps, one day, Adam Wharton will step onto that sacred pitch, look around the stands, and realize that the dream so many have imagined before him has finally become his reality. Because, as every player eventually learns, when Real Madrid calls, destiny always answers.